What is a weird hobby that you've been hiding from your family or friends? Collect macro machines. The classic originals from the late 80s. I have probably close to 1,000 of them, and I keep them at work, so my family doesn't find out and want to play with them. Some days, at work, I'll challenge myself to only use my left hand, or never bend my right knee, or not use my thumbs at all. It started when I wondered to myself if I could still function normally if I lost an arm, and then escalated to all kinds of potential amputations or mobility losses. It's weird, I know, but I think it does help me see the world from another perspective and be thankful for the functional body I have. I build virtual houses in The Sims to post on the gallery. I think I'm up to like 8,000 some downloads, which is not that much, but yeah, I post often. On days off when no one's around I might post 5 builds in a day. I just find it super relaxing. I like to flesh everything out with little knickknacks, so it looks like real people live there. So yeah, I'm an adult who plays Dollhouse. What about it? I've been practicing Mongolian throat singing for about a year now. I lived in a college house with 3 guys who were taking a music course. One of the first weeks of school the teacher showed them Mongolian throat singing. For the next 18 fucking months I had to listen to the shittiest throat singing quartet in existence. We would all be doing our own thing when one of them would start. The other 2 would join the cacophonous chorus almost immediately, as that horrendous humming would fill the house. But wait, I said it was a quartet and that is only 3 people. Well, the upstairs neighbor had a big lab. I don't know if it liked the throat singing, or if it hated it, or if the dog just had to be the loudest thing on the block, but he would start howling almost immediately. Even with my tin ear, I could tell they were not a good harmony. I have a lot of weird hobbies, but the only one I don't tell people about is that I talk to myself a lot. Like, full blown, never gonna happen scenario conversations for 30+ minutes at a time. Always have since I was a kid. I'd be embarrassed if I got busted talking to myself like a fucking lunatic, but I have worked myself through some personal shit on more than one occasion, just by being able to say my problems out loud, even if no one is listening. Honestly, I blame it on my ADHD, but what do I know? I write erotica stories for myself, but the system I have in place is so convoluted and bizarre I can't let any of the people in my life know about it. Learning Chinese. Waiting for something like a head injury or car accident to pretend that's all I know somehow as a gag. Or maybe I'll just wait till we are at a Chinese restaurant. I've been volunteering at a cat shelter for about a year and haven't said anything about it to my friends. It just feels kinda awkward because I'm a 19-year-old dude and most other volunteers are middle-aged women lol. Sometimes when I'm bored, haven't done it in a while though, I'll put on sunglasses and sit somewhere public that has a lot of foot traffic and watch people. It's absolutely hilarious and can be very entertaining at times. That I watch all those cartoons that I loved when I was a kid but in English, so I can have fun and be nostalgic while learning language. I don't really do it anymore, but I like to get cheap liquid glue, put it on my fingers or something, then peel it off. It was always strangely therapeutic for me, but I'd be pretty embarrassed getting caught. I have internal conversations with characters from my favorite shows, YouTubers, or people I know to help me make decisions. Like, I take their hypothetical advice, but I know I'm the one controlling what they say. It's hard to explain. I do that with real people I know of, or I can even invent people to fit a role I need to talk to. You're analyzing or introspecting your thoughts by internalizing outside perspective. It's no different than having shower conversations, where you play out what you say and what they'll say, except you and I are able to angle what the other person says in a way that helps us straighten our thoughts out. It's sorta intentional, but also each conversation is unique because each person is unique with their personalities. It doesn't work if you just force them to say and behave in ways they wouldn't in real life. That's why we do it with many different people. Some people will ask better questions to get you the answer. As a quick example to others, I might be having a hard time at work and, internally, complain about what an my coworker was today to a good friend. He'll ask, wow, that's rude of him. Why would he do that? Did you do something to offend him? And to answer that, I need to reflect on my own behavior. Maybe I did do something wrong. Or maybe I didn't, but I recall something else that annoyed my coworker. It's basically regular thinking with extra steps. But it's more fun, and sometimes you really do make a realization you wouldn't have with your own thoughts alone. I'll listen to police or fire scanners to and from work every day and can understand everything on them. I know what type of responders get dispatched for what type of calls. I know which types of calls are most likely to be false, a waste of time. Also know which channels responders will be asked to respond on based on the type of call, at least here locally. I know which ones to get excited about, that's going to make the news later. The few times I have told people about this, I've said it's so I can avoid major traffic accidents before everyone else knows about them. Which is true. But the real reason is that I have always wanted to be a cop or firefighter or paramedic, but no, there's not enough money in it for some of my other goals in life. Sewing, not so much a weird hobby, but my family is pretty old-fashioned really sexist, so as a man they would have a field day if they knew more than half the stuff my wife made for them was actually me. It's really relaxing, satisfying creating stuff, and I save a lot of money never having to throw clothes out. I'm a mom who's close to 50. I really like playing Fortnite. Maybe that's not so weird, but in my social circles hardly any women play video games, let alone one that is popular with kids the same ages as my children. I have written 2 books. I'm currently writing a third, 2 are self-help books and 1 fiction. I haven't even told my fiancé about these, and the one I'm currently working on is how not to flip your while planning a wedding. Working title, but you get the drift. I'll never publish them, just helps me work through all the thoughts in my head. I like writing stories. I find it therapeutic, since I often write about situations I wish I can be in, or how I'd redo something in my past I regret. I create stories in my head. Subject matter varies and I never write them down, but believe me, I remember all of them. Sometimes I quietly talk them out to myself, both to make sure it makes sense and that any dialogue I come up with sounds right. I used to fall asleep at night when I was younger by telling elaborate stories in my head. I'd always continue the one from the night before, usually adding more. But as I got older, sometimes I'd just tweak or add details to whatever I had been working on internally the night before. There was a brief stint where I did attempt to write this down at about 13. But you can imagine the quality of writing a 13-year-old produces. I rap. It's definitely explicit content. My family is super conservative, and they have no idea. It started as a thing I did just for myself, but I put a demo online anonymously last year, and it got fairly popular, and now things are escalating. I've started getting some good placements and features, and it's getting more and more difficult to hide it. Eventually they'll find out, and I'll have to have that awkward conversation. It's the one thing that I have as an outlet, and the only thing I really enjoy, so I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Online roleplay. Normally not erotic, but super in-depth roleplay about fictional worlds and the adventure I have with people I normally don't meet. I've made friends from thus, and it's fun. It may not be the weirdest, but it's abnormal at most. Fashion and makeup. Growing up, I went through a tomboy phase. Regretted quit a lot. I was always seen as someone who didn't like fashion and didn't wear makeup. Now that I'm becoming more comfortable with myself, I'm experimenting with these things and I quite like them. I record myself reading books aloud, like Berenstain Bears chapter books, Choose Your Own Adventure, Goosebumps, etc. I do the voices, edit out the mistakes, sometimes add music or sound effects. Then I listen to those recordings while doing household tasks, or especially when I can't sleep. Hearing my own voice reading helps me doze off like you wouldn't believe. I watch a lot of extraction videos on YouTube. Like everyone knows about pimple extractions, but what about mango worm extractions? Ingrown toenail extractions? Earwax extractions? Rock extractions from horse hooves? Ingrown hair extractions? I just like seeing things taken out of other things. Like yes, this creature has benefited. Good has been done here. Also excellent use of the Jobson horn. Not even my husband knows, and I do not plan on telling him. Not that this is weird, and I know I'm not alone in this, but I still play Sims. I've spent so much time and money buying the explanation packs and downloading mods. I'm not the typical gamer chick, I guess you could say, so I just feel like my friends would think it was kinda weird coming from me. I get embarrassed with myself when I see how many hours I've spent playing that game, lol. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell. Let us know your thoughts on this topic. See you soon.